Welcome to Shadowing English.
Listen, learn, and improve your English effortlessly. Speak like a native.
Welcome. I want to be upfront with you. This isn't one of those videos where I reel off 5 quick tips to transform your life and then vanish. This isn't about a fleeting 10-minute surge of motivation that ultimately changes nothing. This is about something much deeper, something more substantial, because what we're addressing today is the fundamental difference between a tranquil existence and a life riddled with suffering. We inhabit a world where eliciting a reaction from others has become a norm. People will try to insult you precisely because they want to gain control over you. They might ignore you to deliberately break you down. They could even spread falsehoods just to witness you crumble. And tragically, most people react instantly, emotionally, and often in a very vocal manner. They forfeit their peace of mind, they lose their self-control, and ultimately, they surrender their power. The truly disheartening thing is that most individuals don't even comprehend the extent to which they're sabotaging their own lives through their knee-jerk reactions. That one heated argument that shattered a friendship, that single hastily written text message that brought an end to a relationship, that isolated moment of uncontrolled anger that irrevocably altered everything. Therefore, today, I'm urging you to take a moment and truly listen. Because if you genuinely grasp the essence of what I am about to share, you will evolve into someone who doesn't merely scrape by. You will become someone who is virtually untouchable, calm, strong, focused, and serene. And not because life is inherently easy, but because you will no longer allow the external world to dictate your internal state. This video isn't exclusively aimed at those striving for success. It's for anyone who is simply weary of being broken by their emotions. It's intended for those who are ready to finally reclaim their personal power. And I promise you this, if you stay with me until the very end, you will cultivate a level of inner strength that most people never even discover in their entire lifetimes. This video isn't just a source of motivation. It's also designed to help you build a powerful command of the English language. Every word is carefully chosen to be accessible, and every sentence imparts both strength and clarity. It's not solely about enhancing your ability to speak, but about refining your capacity to think. So let's begin. Lesson 1. Reacting equates to relinquishing control. When someone possesses the ability to push your buttons and trigger your anger, when someone can utter a single sentence and completely alter your mood, when you permit their insults, their silence, or their opinions to destabilize you, you are no longer the master of your own destiny. You are being manipulated like a puppet, with your emotions serving as the strings. People mistakenly believe that reacting swiftly is a sign of strength, but reacting impulsively is not an indication of power. It signifies that you are easily manipulated. Every instance in which you react without pausing to think, you're surrendering something incredibly valuable: your peace, your energy, your power. Now, consider this. How many moments in your life have been ruined because you reacted too quickly? How often have you shouted at someone you care about, only to later regret it? How many times have you responded to a message in a fit of anger and then wish you could take it back? This is precisely what emotional enslavement looks like. You may not be physically bound by chains, but your emotions are being dictated by the world around you. And the most insidious part is that you may not even be aware of it. For example, there was once a young man who worked diligently in an office. He was a hard worker, always stayed late, and adhered to every rule. However, one day during a team meeting, his manager publicly criticized him in front of everyone. The criticism was unwarranted and untrue, and in that instant he erupted. He shouted, he argued, He vehemently defended himself. The room fell silent, and the atmosphere became charged with tension. Subsequently, the manager calmly walked away, and the young man became known as the emotional guy, not the hardworking one, not the intelligent one. That single outburst tarnished the image he had cultivated for years. He didn't emerge victorious. He lost because he allowed someone else to dictate his response. The solution lies in the 5-second rule, which has the power to change everything. This is what truly strong individuals do. They pause. The next time someone disrespects you, the next time someone tells a lie, yells, ignores, or insults you, resist the urge to speak, to move, or to react. Simply breathe. Inhale, exhale for 5 seconds. And within those 5 seconds, you reclaim the one thing that no one else should ever possess, your self-control. Because when you pause, something truly remarkable occurs. The intensity of the emotion begins to diminish. The initial fire starts to cool, and your brain begins to engage in rational thought rather than simply burning with anger. You can still respond if necessary, but your words will now carry weight rather than being driven by foolishness, and your actions will be guided by wisdom rather than emotional impulse. This habit, this simple pause, will transform your entire life. In relationships, in business, in disagreements, in family dramas, in everything. Because when you choose not to react, it doesn't signify weakness. It demonstrates power. You become untouchable. You become free. Part 2. Most reactions lead to regret. There are moments in our lives that we desperately wish we could undo. A hastily sent message, a carelessly spoken word, an angry outburst, a decision made in haste, driven by fear, or made without careful consideration. These are the moments that haunt us for years. It's not the insult that they hurled at you that you carry. It's the way you reacted to it. It's not the failure itself that you carry. It's the way you fell apart when it happened. It's not the problem that weighs you down. It's your emotional response to it. People often assume that reacting quickly is a sign of authenticity or honesty. But in reality, impulsive reactions stem from pain, not power. Reacting is what you do when you're in survival mode, not when you're striving for growth. We tend to scream when we feel insignificant. We resort to blame when we feel vulnerable, and we engage in conflict when we feel wounded. But once the moment has passed, what remains? Guilt, shame, regret. We begin to realize, I should have remained silent. I should have taken a moment. I should have let it go. But by then, it's too late because reactions, once unleashed, cannot be undone. Words have lasting effects. Actions leave their mark, and people don't easily forget. Think about it. How many people have you pushed away because you reacted too hastily? How many arguments could have been avoided? How many relationships could have been salvaged? How many peaceful days did you spoil simply because you allowed a negative moment to dictate your behavior? And here's the most painful truth. Sometimes you don't fully appreciate what you've lost until it's beyond repair. There was a woman who deeply loved her younger sister. They were as close as best friends could be. But one day, during a family gathering, the sister made a sarcastic remark about a sensitive topic, something that touched upon an old, unhealed wound. In that instant, the woman lost her composure. She shouted in front of everyone. She uttered words that she couldn't retract, words that weren't even accurate, just filled with years of accumulated pain and suppressed emotions. The family fell silent, and the sister left. Days turned into weeks, but their relationship never recovered. Years later, the woman would often gaze at a photograph of the two of them and weep, not because of what her sister had said, but because of how she had reacted. One moment, one reaction, a lifetime of regret. The solution: train yourself to respond, not react. This requires a shift in mindset. It's like building a muscle. It demands daily discipline. When something painful occurs, you must practice repeating this one sentence in your mind. This emotion is real, but this reaction is a choice. Yes, you feel hurt. Yes, it's unfair. Yes, you want to scream, but resist the urge. Instead, pause, close your mouth, still your body. Allow the emotion to surface, but don't act upon it. Feel it. Permit yourself to experience the anger, the sadness, the fear, but only in silence. Name it. Ask yourself, am I reacting to the present moment or to something unresolved from the past? Wait for 10 minutes or an hour or even a day. Then, and only then, respond with truth, with calm, with power. This one habit can save relationships. It can protect your peace of mind, and it can safeguard your future. Because reacting might feel empowering in the heat of the moment, but peace is ultimately stronger, and peace never leads to regret. Part 3. Silence is a superpower. The world thrives on noise. People are constantly talking, arguing, explaining, justifying, trying to prove they're right, trying to win, trying to appear strong. But here's a truth you won't often hear. The strongest individuals are not the loudest ones. They're the ones who are comfortable with silence, who don't feel the need to constantly assert themselves. You see, silence is often misunderstood. People mistake silence for weakness, assuming that if you're quiet, you must be afraid, that if you walk away, you must be intimidated. But the truth is precisely the opposite. It takes far more strength to remain calm than to shout. It takes far more wisdom to walk away than to argue. It takes far more power to say nothing when every fiber of your being wants to fight. Silence represents control. Silence represents focus. And silence represents dignity. Because when you remain silent, people can't decipher your thoughts. They're uncertain of your next move. They don't know if they've hurt you or if you've already won. And that ambiguity is power. For example, there's a man who was publicly humiliated on social media by a former friend. Fake stories, manipulated screenshots, and a deliberate character assassination were used. Everyone expected him to retaliate. Everyone anticipated him posting his version of events, going live, or issuing a response. But he didn't. He said nothing. People labeled him as weak, cowardly, or guilty, but he remained silent. 6 months later, the truth emerged. The friend who had spread the lies was exposed by someone else. The man's silence was then perceived as dignity, class, and strength. Because while others were engaging in shouting matches, he was quietly emerging victorious. The solution: wield silence as a weapon, not a sign of weakness. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't need to justify yourself to people who have already formed their opinions. You don't need to post, message, defend, or fight for your dignity. Sometimes, the most impactful thing you can do is to say nothing at all. Allow your silence to resonate more powerfully than your words ever could. Here's how to use silence as a source of power. In conflict, simply say, "I understand," and walk away. Don't engage in arguments. Let their own words be their undoing. In drama, don't contribute to the noise. Take a step back and allow the truth to surface on its own. In the face of disrespect, don't shout, don't cry, and don't offer explanations. Simply look them in the eyes and say nothing. People will take notice, and when they do, you win, not by reacting, but by rising above. Part 4. Not everything warrants your energy. One of the most significant mistakes you can make in life is attempting to fight every battle. Defend yourself in every argument. Prove your worth to every critic and respond to every message, every insult, and every misunderstanding. It may sound admirable, but in reality, it's a recipe for draining your energy, disrupting your peace, undermining your focus and jeopardizing your future. Because you must understand that not everything is worth your time, not everyone deserves a reaction from you, and not every problem requires your emotional investment. You have a finite amount of energy each day, and every time you expend it on the wrong person or situation, you have less available for the things that truly matter. If you devote your energy to gossip, you'll deplete the energy you need for your goals. If you channel your energy into hate, you'll diminish the energy you have for love. If you give your energy to things that drain you, you'll inevitably wonder why you feel empty. Some people actively seek to provoke a reaction from you, not because they care about you, but because it feeds their ego to witness you disturbed, broken, or triggered. They're not interested in peace. They thrive on drama. And if you continue to step into their world, you'll never have the opportunity to build your own. For example, there was a college student who was bright, disciplined, and focused. She used to stay up late studying diligently and dreaming big. But one day, someone spread false rumors about her, claiming she had cheated on a test. Her name became the subject of whispers. People began to view her differently, and some even stopped speaking to her. She was furious. She wrote lengthy posts online, attempting to explain herself to everyone. She spent countless nights crying, wondering why no one believed her. Weeks passed. She lost her focus. She stopped studying, and she stopped dreaming. She became consumed by bitterness, all because she devoted her energy to something she should have simply walked away from. She could have chosen to remain silent. She could have allowed her actions to speak for themselves. But instead, she squandered her energy on people who didn't deserve it. Years later, she made a heartbreaking statement. I didn't lose because of what they said. I lost because I tried to fix what didn't matter. The solution: learn to protect your energy as if it were gold. Here's what you must do. Create a mental list of the things that genuinely deserve your energy each day. If something doesn't appear on that list, walk away from it. Avoid engaging in minor battles. You're not here to win arguments. You're here to win at life. Stop trying to explain yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. If they've already formed their judgment, your words won't change their minds. Only respond in situations where growth is possible. If the conversation won't help you progress, it's a trap. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's a demonstration of wisdom. You're not obligated to attend every fight you're invited to, because peace isn't found in winning every battle. Peace is found in recognizing which battles aren't worth fighting at all. Part 5. The one who remains calm ultimately wins. The world holds in high regard those who maintain their composure when everything is falling apart. Calm individuals are trusted. Calm individuals are respected. Calm individuals make better decisions, build stronger relationships, and lead more fulfilling lives. Why? Because when you remain calm, you retain your power. When you remain calm, you see things clearly. When you remain calm, you become the leader in any situation, even if you don't say a word. Most people live their lives like storms. They shout, panic, cry, blame, react, lose control, and then wonder why nothing seems to work. But the person who remains calm becomes the storm's antithesis, the stillness that it fears. Calmness doesn't mean you don't experience pain. It means you've learned to manage pain with strength rather than with panic. For example, there was once a man on a crowded train. Suddenly, another man entered the carriage. He was drunk, angry, pushing people, and shouting wildly. Everyone became tense. Some shouted back, some moved away, and some began recording the incident. But one old man remained still, calm, and unshaken. The angry man approached him, ready to fight. The old man looked him in the eyes and said calmly, "Whatever happened to you today, I'm sorry it brought you this far." The drunk man stopped in his tracks. His fists unclenched, his eyes softened, and he sat down and wept. The entire train was silent because one calm man had altered the energy of the entire carriage. He didn't react. He didn't fight. He understood something that others didn't. This isn't about me. That's what calm people understand, that not every external storm needs to become an internal storm. The solution: cultivate the discipline of calmness. Calmness isn't an innate quality. You have to train for it, just as a warrior trains for battle. Here's how. Practice deep breathing regularly. Breathing isn't just a habit, it's a tool. When your body is calm, your mind is more receptive. Observe before speaking. Allow people to reveal their true selves and let situations unfold before responding with strategy rather than emotion. Detach emotionally before acting. Ask yourself, am I acting from a place of truth or from a place of pain? If it's pain, wait. If it's truth, proceed. Practice calmness in small, everyday situations. A spilt cup of coffee, a delayed train, a rude message. These are your training sessions. The more you practice calmness in minor storms, the more prepared you'll be when life throws the big ones your way. Remember, anyone can scream, anyone can cry, anyone can panic. But the person who can sit in the fire and still see clearly, still speak gently, and still move wisely, that person wins. Because life always follows the calm mind, not the loud one. Part 6. Reaction is a habit. Response is a power. Most people don't recognize this. They're not reacting because they're angry. They're reacting because they've always reacted. Reacting has become their default mode. It's automatic, it's emotional, and it's no longer a conscious choice. And when something becomes a habit, you stop questioning it. You simply do it. Someone disrespects you, you fight back. Someone ignores you, you cry. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you scream. You don't pause to ask, do I need to react to this? You simply react because that's what you've always done. But here's the powerful truth. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. And only one of them leads to peace, success, respect, and power. Let's understand the distinction. A reaction is fast, emotional, and uncontrolled. It originates from a place of inner wounding. A response is calm, clear, and conscious. It originates from a place of inner strength. The person who reacts is like a volcano, loud, wild, and destructive. But the person who responds is like the ocean, deep, steady, and untouchable. You must ask yourself today, are you reacting like a machine, or are you responding like a master? Because those who respond govern their lives. Those who react are governed by their emotions. For example, there was once a young man who worked as a waiter in a busy restaurant. He was kind, focused, and always respectful. One evening, a wealthy customer walked in. He was rude and entitled, snapping his fingers, barking orders, and finally, when his food was delayed, shouting across the room, "Are you deaf, stupid, or just lazy?" The entire restaurant froze. Everyone expected the young man to retaliate, to react, to defend himself. But he didn't. He looked at the man, smiled, and said with calm, steady eyes, "Sir, I'm doing my best. If that's not enough for you today, I understand. But I'll continue to serve you with respect, because that's who I am." The room fell silent. The customer, who had entered exuding power, now appeared diminished. The waiter, who had seemed powerless, now stood tall. The manager, who had witnessed the entire exchange, offered the young man a promotion that same night. Why? Because he had learned what most never do. Reaction is instinct, response is wisdom. The underlying reason we react is that we are unaware of our wounds. If you were consistently ignored as a child, you'll overreact to being ignored now. If you were once humiliated, you'll overreact to any slight disrespect. If you were once abandoned, you'll overreact to distance in a relationship. And so, reacting isn't about the person in front of you. It's about the pain within you that was never healed. And until you understand that, you'll continue to react to things that don't deserve your pain. You'll continue to squander your peace on situations that don't warrant your attention. The solution: transform reaction into awareness, then into response. You can break the habit. You can reprogram your mind. Here's how. Pause before everything, even if it's just for a single breath. Take that breath. Break the automatic chain. That one breath creates space, and space is where power resides. Ask yourself one question. Is this about now or about something old? Many times, the emotion you're experiencing isn't about the present moment. It's a memory, a wound, a trigger. Awareness is how you reclaim control. Respond with truth, not emotion. Truth is strong. Emotion is unstable. Speak only when your truth is clear and your heart is calm. Practice response daily, even in small things. Train yourself when you're cut off in traffic. Train yourself when your friend forgets to text back. Train yourself when life feels unfair. Each moment is an opportunity to practice. Each breath is a chance to become stronger. The world doesn't need more reactors. It needs more responders. Because the people who remain calm, the people who choose awareness over anger, the people who think before they speak and feel before they act, those are the ones who rise. Those are the ones who lead. Those are the ones who are remembered, not for their noise, but for their grace. And now, the question is yours. Will you continue to react from the pain of your past, or will you start responding from the strength of your future? Lesson 7. If you want peace, let go of ego. There's a reason people endure so much suffering in silence. It's not solely due to pain. It's not solely due to fear. And it's not even solely due to others. Most of the time, it's because of the ego, that quiet, invisible voice within that whispers. They should have treated me better. I need to prove I was right. I deserve more respect. They don't see my value. And that hurts me. I can't let them win. And so you react, you respond, you fight, you explain, not because it's necessary, but because your ego is yearning for attention. But what you fail to recognize is that the ego isn't your power. It's your prison. It's the reason you remain stuck, angry, bitter, and unfree. The ego craves to be seen, loved, admired, respected, and praised at all times. But when the world doesn't provide you with those things, and it won't, the ego panics. And when the ego panics, you react. You shout in the midst of an argument because your ego says, they can't talk to me like that. You reply to a hate comment because your ego says, they don't know who I am. You explain your side in every conflict because your ego says, I must defend myself. But here's the truth. Nobody wants to hear it. You don't need to defend what's already genuine. You don't need to prove what already exists. And you don't need to be loud to be right. The moment you release the ego, you rise because the ego dwells in pain, but your soul dwells in peace. For example, there was a man who dedicated years to working for a company. He gave everything, his time, his health, his loyalty. But one day, without warning, the company replaced him. No apology, no gratitude, nothing. He was consumed by rage. His ego screamed, how could they do this to me? Don't they know who I am? I gave them everything. He wanted to go public, to expose the company, to seek revenge. But before taking any action, he spoke to his grandmother, a woman who had lived through wars, betrayals, and poverty, and still radiated peace in her eyes. She said, my child, listen to me carefully. You don't heal by proving others wrong. You heal by proving to yourself that their actions will not control your future. Those words transformed him forever. He didn't fight. He didn't attack. He walked away in silence, with dignity, with clarity. 6 months later, he started his own company quietly and consistently. Years later, he was more successful than the very people who had betrayed him because he let go of the ego and held on to peace. Why does the ego make you react? Because the ego is loud, it can't accept disrespect, it can't tolerate rejection, and it can't survive silence. And so, every time someone challenges your worth, every time someone forgets your value, every time someone walks away without explanation, your ego explodes. But here's the danger. The ego seeks revenge. Your soul seeks freedom. And if you keep choosing the ego, you'll keep losing your peace. You'll react to every comment. You'll argue with every fool, and you'll destroy relationships just to win temporary battles. But when the battle ends, you'll be alone with your ego and without your peace. The solution: kill the ego, choose peace every single time. This is the most important part. You can't master your emotions if you don't confront your ego. Catch the voice the moment you feel the urge to prove, fight, attack, or explain. Pause. Ask, is this my soul speaking or my ego screaming? Let people be wrong about you. It's difficult, but it's powerful. Not everyone deserves access to your truth. Let them misunderstand you. Let them talk. You don't owe everyone a version of yourself that makes them comfortable. Stop fighting to be right. The need to be right is often the reason we remain trapped in the wrong energy. Ask yourself a profound question. What holds greater significance? The fleeting satisfaction of being right, or the enduring serenity of being at peace? Choose the solace of silence when your ego is screaming to be heard. The next occasion someone shows you disrespect and you feel that familiar fire igniting within, simply breathe deeply, offer a gentle smile, and calmly walk away. Not because you are demonstrating weakness, but precisely because you're no longer governed by something as fragile and ultimately insignificant as your ego. Always remember that your inherent worth is not something open to debate or question. You have absolutely no need to react defensively to prove its existence. No need to speak out in a desperate attempt to protect it. All you need to do is live it authentically, with unwavering calmness, crystalline clarity, and a quiet, self-assured confidence. When you consciously let go of the ego's relentless grip, something truly beautiful and transformative begins to happen within you. You cease the endless, exhausting chase for external validation. You stop reacting impulsively to the constant barrage of noise and distractions, and you no longer feel the pressing need to prove your inherent worth to anyone. And for possibly the first time in your life, you experience a profound sense of lightness. You feel genuinely free, and you become utterly unshakable. Because inner peace doesn't reside in the clamorous and the chaotic. It thrives in the stillness, in the profound calm, in the quiet heart that no longer needs to win every single argument or assert its dominance. That is the kind of true, unshakable strength that most people sadly never manage to find within themselves. But you have just discovered it. Now actively choose it, not just once, not just twice, but consciously every single day. Because the less you feel compelled to react, the more genuine power you truly possess. And the less ego you carry burdening your soul, the more profound peace you will experience for all time. Now you are in possession of the truth. You don't need to react to absolutely everything that comes your way. You don't need to fight every single battle that presents itself. You certainly don't need to prove your worth to those people who were never able to see it in the first place, no matter what you did. You don't need to carry the weight of all that noise, all that unnecessary drama, all that lingering pain, just because the world chooses to throw it at you. You're so much more than simply your reactions. You're so much more than just your anger. You are far, far greater than any of the passing storms that come and inevitably go. You are calm, you are deep, you are steady, and right now, at this very moment, you are free. From this moment forward, may you never again lose your hard-won peace, not for anything, and certainly not for anyone. May your profound silence become your greatest strength. May your unwavering calmness become your ultimate confidence, and may your accumulated wisdom become your guiding way of life. And whenever the world attempts to pull you into the swirling vortex of chaos, simply pause, breathe deeply, and remember precisely who you are. You do not belong amidst all that incessant noise. You were born for something far greater, peace, purpose, and a quiet, unshakable inner power. So remain still, stay true to yourself, and keep on rising silently and with grace, because sometimes the very loudest thing you can possibly say is absolutely nothing at all. Thank you for watching. I'm genuinely proud of you, and from my heart to yours, may God bless you with unwavering strength, with lasting peace, and with a life that no fleeting reaction can ever destroy. Take exceptional care of your mind, diligently protect your soul, and never, ever forget that you are not demonstrating weakness by remaining calm. You are, in fact, powerful beyond all words. Until next time, stay strong, stay silent, and stay free.